Do you want to boost your motivation, fuel your personal growth, and solidify your self confidence? To take the next step on your journey to becoming the best version of yourself, then this video is for you. Hi, everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Zara, and today I'm going to be diving into concepts surrounding the self concept. So, there are many psychological theories which can help us better understand ourselves and which can give us new strategies to improve in our self growth journey. I've always been passionate about things surrounding lifestyle, well being, and health, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to bridge together that passion with all the knowledge I've been gaining in university. Personally, I really enjoy consuming quality content, especially on the topics that I'm going to be discussing. And I feel like I'm now at a point in my academic career where I'm able to connect what I'm learning to my life and the world around me. And honestly, I'd just love to share this valuable knowledge. First off, what is the self concept? According to the Oxford Dictionary, it is an idea of the self constructed from beliefs one holds about oneself and the response of others. At its core, the self concept is simply just your perception and what you internalize, as well as the mindset you hold about yourself. Luckily, it's extremely malleable, meaning that you can change it. Take a moment to reflect on how you currently view yourself. Maybe you classify yourself as a kind person or a good student. Maybe you're someone who is proud of their accomplishments. Or, contrary to that, maybe you classify yourself more negatively. Statements play in your mind, such as, no one likes me, I'm a bad student, I don't think I'm good enough. Your roles in your life also make up your self concept. For example, being a daughter, being a student, etc. There's a quote which I feel relates well to this topic, and it's from the book Healing Developmental Trauma by Lawrence Heller and LaPierre. The more distorted our sense of identity becomes, the less we are able to regulate ourselves. This statement emphasizes the importance of identifying who you are at your core, your values, and your morals, what goals you have, as well as who you envision yourself to be. A distorted sense of identity will only fuel more stress, self doubt, internal conflict, disorganization, and separation from your authentic self. In order to overcome negative self concepts which we have created about ourselves, we must first address them. And it's possible that they stemmed from feelings of shame, neglect, invalidation, or guilt. These feelings drift us farther from our authentic self, so in order to reconnect, you must reshape these views on yourself. Sometimes understanding yourself has to start with reviewing your past experiences, past events and traumas which may have led to triggered responses and negative views. We can further understand this by taking a perspective from Brianna Wiest's The Mountain Is You. This is another novel that I really recommend you read, especially if you're starting out on your self growth journey. In her book, she explains that the mountain represents your life's obstacles and everything that you have to overcome in order to get to the end of the mountain, which is what you could say is your ideal life, ideal selves, your goals, etc. And in order to overcome this mountain, you have to face it head on. So you have to face your past experiences, your traumas, and all of the ugly emotions that you have suppressed. Many of us tend to suppress this mountain of challenging experiences, but suppressing does not make them disappear. It only means it'll come to the surface subconsciously or destructively during stressful periods. Sometimes we forget that our problems are not going to go away if we just forget about them. You can't just put them to the side and clear your mind of them, you have to work through them. To give you a better understanding of how our challenges manifest into negative identities, I'll present a table from the Neuroaffective Relational Model by Lawrence Heller and LaPierre, again from the book Healing Developmental Trauma. So they propose that shame-based identifications can translate into pride-based counter-identifications. For example, if you're someone who identifies as an emotional person, you may have actually just experienced a feeling of not belonging. Another example is if you label yourself as a loner, it may have stemmed from feeling shamed for existing. If you present yourself as independent and without the need of help from other people, it may stem from the shame of feeling like a burden. If you're someone who is always supportive when somebody's going through something, it may stem from your own feelings of unfulfillment and other people letting you down in past situations. And if people view you as having your life put together, it may stem from the feeling of being unloved and unlovable. The last example I'm going to give you is if you have an instinct to reject people first, it may have stemmed from the shame of being hurt. So, as you can see, all of these identities that we have of ourselves, which we may seem as healthy or positive, may actually stem from toxic roots. These are only a handful of outcomes, but in sharing these, I hope that you get an idea of how some of your self identities can actually be extremely toxic and in need of deeper reflection. When we first think about it, being an independent person, being a supportive person, these are not negative qualities. But the truth is, they may have came from negative challenges that must be acknowledged in order for you to grow. Obviously, changing your perspective is a lot easier said than done, but there are a few theories in psychology which can help us to get a better understanding of how our brains process things. The first theory we can use is self-discrepancy theory by Edward Torrey Higgins. This theory divides the self into three categories: the actual self, the ought self, and the ideal self. The actual self is the person that you currently are. So I'll give you an example. Right now, you are a student who procrastinates. You don't put the best effort into school. Now, your ought self, that is who you are expected to be based on your duties and obligations. So, you are expected to organize your time in order to meet deadlines. And finally, your ideal self. The best version of yourself would be somebody who is organized, who doesn't procrastinate, and has a good work life balance. You can use this model for more specific scenarios. And in terms of goal setting, it's very important to establish these three different categories. This way, you can find the gaps between who you are and who you want to be. What is your current self lacking that your ideal self does have, whether that's mental or physical? Once you've recognized the gaps that are preventing you from being your ideal self, you can create steps to bridge the two together. The next theory we can use as a tool to analyze our inner selves is cognitive dissonance theory, which was established by Leon Festinger. The theory is set on the idea that our beliefs and our actions are two separate entities. They can be aligned or unaligned. So if your actions are not matching your beliefs, it leads to a negative feeling known as dissonance. And in order to feel a balance, we must reduce this discomfort or disconnection about what we believe about ourselves versus who we actually are. First, I'm going to give a few examples of situations that would cause this dissonance to arise. For example, if your attitude is that you believe you are a kind person, but your actions are that you're actually talking very poorly about people behind their back, this causes a disconnect. Your actions and your attitudes are not aligned. If your attitude is that you are a fit and healthy person, but you're constantly eating junk food and you're not going to the gym regularly, that's another disconnect, and you're going to have mental discomfort. Now, how can we reduce this psychological discomfort? Well, you can start by changing your attitude, setting more realistic goals for yourself. For example, if your idea of being fit and healthy is following a strict diet and going to the gym 3 times, 4 times a week, maybe you need to reduce that to something more realistic so that your attitude can match up with your actual actions. Maybe change your attitude so that being more mindful of what you're eating and going to the gym once or twice a week is substantial, and that is something you consider healthy. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be consistent in the gym, girl, but you have to start off small so that you can actually attain your goals in a realistic way, because when we're constantly not meeting our expectations, it can be very unmotivating. So, having your belief about something be closer to your actual actions and vice versa will help reduce that discomfort. Before I go, I just want all of you to know that you do have the power to change your life. You have the power to dig into your mind and make it so strong that you can change your reality. And acknowledging that you have things to work on is honestly the first step. And now you're probably at a place where you can start taking action. That's all I have for today. I hope this content was beneficial for you. And don't forget to like, comment, and share.